In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Creator of all things, Revealer of all truth, Sender of all prophets, to Him alone do I submit and seek refuge. As a Muslim, I thank Allah for Moses and the Torah, Jesus and the Injil or the Gospel, Muhammad and the Quran. Peace be upon all of these worthy servants of God. I thank Allah over and over again for raising up in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide to help us to understand how the scriptures of the Torah, the Injil, and the Quran are a masterful plan of salvation, not only for black people, not only for America, but for the human family of our earth. I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, students, faculty, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum, which means in English, peace be unto you. To Brother Emilio Dorsey, who is the Vice President of Student Government, Brother L.C. Robinson, Student Advisor, and to Brother Mike Tadros, Student Senator, and to all those who are members of the student government who voted that I should be here with you tonight. I am grateful to you for your wisdom, your courage, and your foresight. I have read some of the editorial comments, some of the writings of the students, and I have read some of the condemnations, if you will. And I must say to the students of the State University of New York at Oswego that you have handled yourselves in a most intelligent way. Regardless to what you may think of Louis Farrakhan, America is big enough to handle controversial views. Students should be exposed to persons whom they like and persons whom they dislike, that they may know more why they like that person or more why they dislike that person. In an environment of study, when you leave here, is it not fitting and proper that you should meet those ideas as students in a college environment, assess those ideas and their exponents, make your own determination about that person, good or bad? At least it is your determination and not somebody else determining for you. Now, as students whose desire is intellectual excellence, it is wrong for anybody to say that somebody, no matter how controversial their views, should not be exposed to intellectuals or those who are in the pursuit of knowledge. That's right. If you have been taught as well as I believe you have, you are intelligent enough to reject a hater. Aren't you? Aren't you? Are you? You are intelligent enough to reject an anti-Semite. You are intelligent enough to reject a bigot, a racist. If such I am, then reject me. But don't let someone categorize me as that and then you condemn me as that without ever hearing me and understanding me. America, at least the founding fathers thought so, that America was big enough to entertain the idea, the revolutionary idea of freedom of speech. Now, in the freedom of speech that was given to the American people by the founding fathers of this great nation is a saving grace for this country. For to stifle dissent may be to stifle a truth that could correct a path that the nation is on that may be popular but not correct. But to allow a voice or voices of dissent to speak freely, that the American people may hear them and judge them and weigh them, could be the salvation of this republic. Something is wrong in the American society. It is not Farrakhan who made it wrong. I just got here a few days ago. I am not the author of bigotry. I am not the author of racism. I am not the author of anti-Semitism. I was birthed into that kind of world. So why blame me for what you've been suffering all along? Racism pervades the American society. Agreed. Racism pervades this institution. So, why make the people believe that my presence is going to exacerbate racial division? Why make people think that my being here is going to increase racial tensions and polarize people? Why be a hypocrite? You know that racism exists on this campus. You know that. And you know that you are not getting along well before I got here. You know that. And you know that you didn't give a damn whether you got along or didn't get along. But all of a sudden, Now that Farrakhan is here, you want to lay all of the excrement at my doorstep. I say, no, ma'am, no, sir. Take your poop scoop. No, take your poop scoop and take up your own excrement and put it where it belongs. I don't belong there. I never have had that kind of true reputation, and I refuse to allow you to believe that what media says I am is what I am. But tonight, you will hear me for yourselves, and tonight, you can make the judgment for yourselves. Everywhere I go, they say Farrakhan creates controversy. I just got here. I don't understand. I just got off the plane. How did I create a controversy at Oswego? What did I say? To stir you up. Oh, it's things that you said in the past. Oh, I see. So, people organize, polarize, stigmatize, and then say, controversy follows Farrakhan wherever he goes. And then, if I speak to the controversy, Farrakhan continued his diatribe. I hope you members of the press will be a little more open and non-biased. You know, I just left Michigan State University last week, and people said Farrakhan has the right to speak, but he shouldn't have any of our student activity funds. After all, we should not fund a bigot, a racist. Let him speak, but don't give him anything. That's very interesting. So at Michigan State, the Student Senate allowed the duly constituted, legally operative black organization $5,000 toward my honorarium. Then some zealous Jewish students and a rabbi went to student government, raised an issue. Student government took back the $5,000. Then they passed a law specifically for me. It's called the Farrakhan Law. Not really, I'm only teasing. But they passed this law, and then they said, Farrakhan or no speaker should get any more than $1,000, knowing that I'm the only speaker coming. And in early March, we will review our ruling. Isn't that something? What is this? The wise and the wicked know that ideas are no stronger than the money that funds ideas. You would not know certain ideas if there were no backing for those ideas. In this society, if you do not have money to back your ideas, to help concretize your ideas, then your ideas die until somebody comes along that is willing to back your ideas with money. So in this society, if you are wise and controversial, they try to keep money from you, because money put together with wisdom and good program means progress for a people.
That's right. That's right.
You don't mind giving money to a fool.
That's right.
Because you know that in the morning you'll have it back with the cocaine or with some dope or with something else. See? So you can give musicians $10,000. I'm not saying that musicians are foolish. And you can give sports figures millions of dollars.
That's right.
Because you know that money has an elastic band on it.
That's right.
Just when they think they got it, boom, it's right back in the hand of the person who gave it. But a person like Farrakhan,
Yes, sir.
who is not a fool. No. Whatever you may say about me, you will know tonight that I'm no fool. In fact, whatever you say about me tonight, you will know that I am a man of indescribable wisdom. And you will also know tonight that you did not make me. The American educational system did not fashion me. I'm fashioned of another kind of school that allows me to stand on top of your educational system and judge it with a non-biased judgment, because I'm not enslaved by your system. I am a free black man who knows the truth that makes men free and women free. Huh? So those who know that I know do not want to see the man who knows have any money to back his knowledge and his programs, because they are afraid of what I know. And they are frightened to death, not only that my own black brothers and sisters are listening to Farrakhan, but they are frightened to death that Hispanics, Native Americans, Arabs, and even white people are listening to Farrakhan and saying, he's not what they said I am. Then if I turn out to be not what they say I am, then you got to ask the question, why do they say I am that I am not? And when you find the answer out to that question, you shall be free indeed. So at Michigan State, they took away all the money. And they said, well, I know Farrakhan is not coming. The students were so magnificent, they sold tickets. And the largest auditorium on the campus holds about 4,000 persons, between 4,000 and 5,000. It has never been filled for a speaker. Never. Black or white. The last time it was filled, Eddie Murphy was there during his Raw tour. But they charged $6 and filled it to capacity and overflowing, so that they didn't need any student activity money to pay Brother Farrakhan's honorarium. They made a profit, and student activities is forced now to give them the $5,000 that they promised. And look at tonight. Student activity, student senate, student government voted to give Farrakhan an honorarium. They didn't argue with the honorarium, but wisely they charged students to come in, and you paid. And there is approximately nearly 2,000 students here. So they said to me, if we get 60 to 70% of our money back, we consider this a success. Yes, student government tonight has been successful. Yes, let's give student government a hand. Now, let's go to work. It's Black History Month. And it's nice, isn't it, that we've been given 1 month to think about ourselves. If you notice, no Caucasian, no Hispanic, no Native American has been given any kind of preferential treatment where history is concerned. You don't have a Ukrainian History Week, a Jewish History Week, a Chicano History Week, an Arab History Week, Irish History Week. Come on. Or month. Why? Why Black history? Are you special? Or are your needs special? Everybody else knows something about themselves, and their own history and culture is a priority with them, and their parents teach them, and they have books to read about themselves that they don't need to come to Oswego or any other college to have somebody deal with their history. But black people have to have some special provision that we may know something about our history. Why? To the white students that are here, the Hispanic students that are here, this is a marvelous opportunity for you, because in reality, as we have been deprived in this society of the knowledge of our own history, you have also been deprived of the knowledge of our history. So, because you don't know us, really know us, you cannot fully appreciate or respect what we have contributed to the onward march of civilization. Black students who do not know themselves, who do not know their history, cannot properly respect self. So it's difficult for you as a black student to command the respect of others if you are not a self-respecting community. And you cannot be a self-respecting black community if you don't know your history, know the roots that have produced the fruit. And if you know the root and appreciate the root, then you know the fruit and know the seed that is contained in the fruit. Then you know the past, you understand the present, you are equipped to deal with the future. Now, is this a crime of omission, or is this a crime of commission? We say it is both a crime of commission and a crime of omission. And this criminal activity is not just directed against black people, it is criminal against all people, because to rob one segment of the population of the dynamics of itself is to rob that segment that robs the other segment of the dynamics of itself. You cannot dehumanize me without in that same process dehumanize yourself. So when you take away from a people their whole history and then lie to them about who they are and what their fathers have contributed to the advancement of civilization, you have struck a death blow to that people, but it will come back and haunt you at a time when you least expect it. A black man by the name of Carter G. Woodson, a man that we as black people should honor and respect. That man saw and said that as a tree without roots is dead, a people without a knowledge of their history is also dead. Now, in death, there is disintegration. In disintegration, there is the stench that comes up from disintegration, decomposition. And if you look at our people as a whole, nobody wants anything really to do with us. And the sad thing is, we don't want anything to do with self. The stench of our attitude, the stench of the decomposition of a people stinks in the nostrils of civilized people, and therefore people back away from black people. I'm talking about peoples of the world. They don't understand us. They don't know what has happened to us. They look at us and say, what's wrong with them? They've been here longer than any other people. And they have less to show for it. Boat people just get off the boat yesterday and take advantage of America's promise. And today the Koreans are moving up economically. The Vietnamese are moving up economically. The Cubans who came here 30 or more years ago to Miami, Florida, penniless, are now rich and powerful. And an Hispanic person is the governor of the state of Florida after 30 years. We got our first governor of a state. I think we have our first governor. I hope he's our first governor. We just got a governor after 430 or more years in America. Does this mean, black brothers and sisters, that we are inferior? Or does it mean that we have been struck a certain kind of blow that we have never recovered from? And if that is so, and it is, we need a special kind of medicine from a special kind of doctor. And those who have benefited from the destruction of our mind and our spirit and the breaking of our will do not wish to see the right teacher come along to amend the condition that 310 years of chattel slavery produced and 130 years of mental bondage have produced. So now here you are at Oswego, at other colleges in the university system of New York, studying black studies or some other harmless kind of discipline. that will not allow you to make any concrete contribution to the advancement of yourself, your people, or anybody else. Why should we have to come to Oswego to get a degree in black studies? Why should we have to pay to come here for somebody to teach me that I'm black? Or for somebody to give me studies in blackness, knowing that when I get my Bachelor of Arts in Black Studies and leave here, all I have is something like when you got a tire that goes flat and you don't fix the flat, you just put air in it, knowing that when you fill it up with air, it still has a slow leak. And here you are coming out of these universities thinking that you have a degree that is useful and what you've paid for. You have been deceived. It is useless to you in terms of the dollar value of that, and it is useless to you in terms of what it enables you to do for yourself, for your people, for this society. It is criminal to ask you to pay for an education that you'll never be able to use. I charge the educational system of America with criminal commission and criminal omission. Let me go on. Listen, what would you think of a car dealer that sold you a beautiful looking car? You made the down payment and they told you, I'm sorry, no time payment. You got to pay for this car. And you can't drive it away until you pay for it. You like the way the car looks. You bought into the car. You paid for the car. Took you 4 years. And then when it came time to drive the car away, the car salesperson keeps the key. That's what is being done to you. Not only you black, but you Caucasian. You got an education that you may not be able to use. Why am I saying this? The educational system in America that has deprived black people has now ended up depriving the people for whom it was originally intended. Listen, this educational system has to be revamped. Why do we say that? Because no discipline that you study does the author of that discipline state that they have absolute knowledge of that discipline. Their knowledge of that discipline is at best faulty. So to say that this is psychology, this is sociology, this is astronomy, this is chemistry, this is physics, this is architecture, this is medicine, this is law. But you don't give the students the mind to stand on top of those who have advanced that discipline, that they may see beyond their teachers to continue to evolve that discipline toward the absolute. Then if the students don't see beyond their teachers, then the students become enslaved to a faulty knowledge. And as time moves on, and minds like the locks indoors change with time, the old key that worked yesterday won't work today. The old knowledge of yesterday is no good necessarily in today's complex world environment. And so, unless you professors go back to school yourself, unless you who teach get away from the arrogance of your doctorate degree, unless you understand that when they conferred on you a doctorate degree, that did not mean that you were actually a doctor. Listen to me. If you are, in fact, a doctor of sociology, we live in a sick society, doctor. Heal it. If, in fact, you are a doctor of economics, you see America losing economically, doctor, heal it. If you think you are, in fact, a medical doctor after spending 12 years beyond high school, then why is America filled with so much disease? More hospitals than any other country, more disease than any other country, people dying like flies from a simple thing as a cigarette, and the doctor can't stop smoking. The doctor dies at the same pace as his patients. So, doctor, Jesus said, physician, heal yourself. All the doctors need a doctor.
Yes, sir. Say that.
Come on. If you think that I'm being smart, look at the condition of the society. The condition of the society is a bearer of witness against your knowledge. If you knew ecology, if you knew real economics, how come you're having a problem with garbage, but God has never had a problem with whatever dies and falls to the earth? He already has figured something for that thing that it never creates an ecological mess, but not you. In your arrogance, you say you know, but you don't know. And you're too arrogant to admit that your doctorate degree has not qualified you to cope with the complex problems of this day's world. Yeah. I'm sorry for raising my voice. Let's talk about the theologians. I'm in school of theology. Yes. I'm studying all about God. Very good. Very good. Poor Mr. Bush. He's down in Cartagena talking to the president of Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia. We've got to stop the drug problem. It's marvelous, Mr. Bush. I'm not making mockery. I'm just trying to show you the bankruptcy of your leadership.
That's right. Gee.
And if you're racist and God puts good ideas in somebody black, you're going to miss them. Because after all, blacks can only sing, you see. Blacks can only dance. Blacks can only jump high and throw balls in hoops. Blacks can only run pigskin across a line or beat somebody up with their fist. But you have never become acquainted with blacks who are thinkers who can inspire you to higher and nobler aspirations. And the more I talk to you, the less you're going to see race. After a while, you won't even know what color I am, because it will sink into insignificance. When ideas begin to capture your mind and you begin to think, you don't care what color I am. That's an accident. I had nothing to do with that. So if you get hung up on this, you'll never see what is within. And it's really what is within that counts. Huh? Yes, let's go on. I think this Farrakhan has changed his subject. That's what he did. They're saying he fixed up a special kind of subject for Oswego. I don't have one note in front of me. I don't teach from notes. I teach from the heart to the heart. And by the way, I don't have fools following me. I mean, people that are with me, I don't want you to think that he's a quote-unquote rabble-rouser. No. These brothers that are sitting here with me, they're from New York. They are my helpers. Brother Ave Muhammad from Rochester. I just want you to look at them. Yes, see, those that are with me, they look different than those whom you've taught. They are different. They're a product of something better. He's a candidate for his doctorate degree in clinical psychology, which he shall have in the next 2 or 3 months. But in being a candidate for his doctoral degree, he doesn't think it beneath his intelligence to follow a man who doesn't have a degree. That's right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Come over here, brother. This is Brother Conrad Muhammad. Look at him. He's a few hours away from his bachelor's. He is helping me in the ministry. And everywhere he goes, he electrifies those who hear him. Huh? And he's going to go on and get your degree, but he has something to complement that degree, to make the degree that he is achieving useful to him and his people and to the society. That's the difference. Thank you. Come over here, brother. This is the minister in Buffalo. He has his bachelor's degree and sometime toward a master degree, but he doesn't think it beneath his dignity to walk with a brother who has no degree. That's right. I don't have any letters. Sorry about that. But the scripture says of Jesus, how come this man having not letters is learned? And if I present to you scholarship tonight without notes, I ain't trying to fiddle and find something. I'm full of it to give to you. Then you go home and ask, what kind of teacher did I have that makes a student like me, and none of this can compare with what my teacher made? I'm telling you, you need to review your educational system. It was the best in the world, but it's not now. It's not now. Here's our minister in Syracuse, Minister Muhammad. He graduated from the State University system here in New York. But he's helping Brother Farrakhan to awaken our people, to transform their lives, to clean them up, to give them that which will make us self-respecting, enabling us to command and demand the respect of others. These are the kinds of young men that the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad produce. I think that before this night is over, you will have to rethink your position. He's a bigot. He's a racist. He's an anti-Semite. Shame on you for such cheap language. No, I will explain all of those words and show you, brothers and sisters, that we are not that. And therefore, these kinds of words have to be dropped. You have to learn to describe me for what I am.
That's right.
Now, getting back to education, it is from two Latin words, educo. Duco meaning to lead, and the prefix e means out or out from. When a person is truly educated, they are led out from darkness into light, from ignorance into knowledge, from weakness into strength. When a person is truly educated, the human being who is the greatest of all of God's creation, the human being, the greatest of God's creation. God so loved human beings till he makes human beings in his own image and after his own likeness. God respects human beings, that he gives human beings the ultimate choice. He forces the sun to bow, and the sun can't do anything but bow. The planets can't do anything but bow. The insects, the animals can't do anything but submit to the law under which they were created. But human beings, even though we are born into the world knowing nothing, we still have the will ultimately to say to God, I don't choose to obey you. I choose to disobey. Even though the results are tragic, you have the right. So authoritarian forms of government have to look at God as the supreme authority, yet he's not necessarily a dictator. He has the right, the absolute right to dictate. But yet he gives us free will that we might choose the right way from the wrong way. And then he points out to us the two conspicuous ways that we might make an intelligent decision, but he won't force you to make the decision. That is God. So democracy at a certain point in a nation's development is a proper form of government. It is the better form of government. Democracy presupposes, however, the growth of intelligence, because one should not be given the right to choose unless one is fully in the knowledge of the thing that he's choosing for or against. If you don't give people knowledge, it is foolish to say we have a democracy. You have a hypocrisy here that is masquerading as democracy. It is better than most forms of government, but as you see the people rising in Eastern Europe against totalitarianism and a brutal authoritarian kind of government, don't you ever go to sleep and think that the American people will not rise against a pseudo-democracy. Are you listening? Every parent gives orders. That's our first form of government. It's a loving dictatorship. Mama dictates. Daddy dictates, hopefully with love. No, you're not going to Cornell. You're going to Oswego. I cannot afford Cornell. Yes, ma'am. But look, that loving mother and father that gave you the basis of knowledge. After a certain point, you don't want your mother ordering you. You don't want your father ordering you. They brought you here, but you don't want them to disrespect your growth of intelligence. So at a certain point, if they say, look, you got to be in here by 12 o'clock, that's it. And you're already 20 years old. You say, well, look, Ma, I don't feel like I should. Well, listen, let me tell you something. Whenever you think you're big enough to tell me when you're coming in, then young man, young woman, you better get a house of your own. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that white folk have treated us like they're little boys and girls. They were a slave master. And a slave master is one who makes your sphere of freedom limited according to his or her wishes. But when you feel like you're coming of age, you begin to rebel against some kind of dictatorial, authoritarian kind of authority. You want somebody to take counsel with you and appeal to your intelligence. Huh? Are you listening? Students in universities, colleges, should have had certain basic knowledge where professors should not adopt an arrogant posture and say to students, look, I got mine. You got yours to get. Students should be able to come to the teacher if they've developed a new way to do a thing that you've been doing in 5 steps in mathematics. They might go home and come up with 3. Then you tell the student, you got the right answer, but you didn't do it the right way. Therefore, I'm penalizing you. Hold it, professor. Your arrogance is making you to subject a student to your methodology. They got the right answer, they just didn't use the method that you taught. Suppose they have evolved a better method. In your arrogance, are you telling us that your student can't teach you? If you can learn from the ant and learn from the bee and learn from lesser creatures, you mean that you can't learn from a fellow human being simply because they have no letters behind their name? Shame, shame, shame. And this is why in America, revolt is coming against the educational system. Revolt is present. Young black people don't want to come to school. And it's foolish to take a football player and let him stand in front of black children and tell black children, stay in school. And the black children will say to the football player, stay in school for what? That I can become like you? A piece of meat? Children don't want to be made into what their professors are. Look at you, professors. Look at your condition. No. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be smart. America pays a baseball player $1 million to knock a ball over a fence. Here's a professor that is shaping the destiny of a nation and cannot get a decent salary on which to live. It's sports people that get respect. It's Ivana Trump. She gets respect because she has money, not because she has really contributed to the growth and development of the brains of young people. Miss Helmsley gets headlines because she cheated the government of taxes. Professors don't even get a byline in an obituary column after they have given their lives to the advancement of knowledge. So your own society now is degenerated. Follow me just a few more minutes and then I'll get right into black history. And why black history is relevant to the problems of this society. My dear students and teachers, as long as those who make the pursuit of knowledge their lifelong ambition are not elevated in the society, then the torchlight of knowledge, which is the torchlight of civilization, begins to weaken and fall. And once the torchlight of knowledge falls, the civilization comes right down behind it. That's what I wanted to get to. America, like Rome, like Babylon, like ancient Egypt, like Sodom and Gomorrah, is on her way down and out. Listen, your knowledge is weakening. Right now in this society, you ask students, oh, by the way, where's Lithuania? Huh? Where's Latvia? Where's Estonia? Where's Azerbaijan? They can't go to a map and pick it out. They know nothing about geography. The country is falling apart in terms of science and mathematics. So today, the capital of advancement has moved from the capitals of America to Japan. The Japanese have beaten every civilization, every society in terms of mathematics and science. And if you're not proficient in mathematics, in science, and in skills in engineering, soon you will be a second-rate, third-rate, fourth-rate nation. Factories in America closing down. Look at what you got on. Where was it made? Shoes made in Italy, in Spain. Shirts made in Hong Kong. Suits made in Thailand or someplace else. But America is losing productivity. When Reagan came to power, America was the leading creditor nation. When Reagan left power, America was the leading debtor nation. You are standing by watching. The British are the #1 investors in America. I think the Japanese are third, but they make so much about the Japanese buying up America, and they're doing their part. America is definitely for sale. What are you going to do when you get out of college? You going to be looking for a job, or will you be in a position to create a job? I'm saying to black students, don't you leave here thinking that white America is preparing a future for you. They've already said that our people represent a permanent underclass. And if our people are a permanent underclass, this means that white folk don't have the skill or possibly the will to make a way for black people. So if we don't make a way for ourselves, there will be nobody to make a way for us. So while I'm on that point, students, get out of useless courses. And if you're going to study psychology, don't be enslaved to Jung and Freud. These dudes are 100 years behind the time. If Freud came back today and had to talk to kindergarten students, he would be amazed at what they're thinking. And all the old psychology and methodology, it don't work with these young people. You in education, take your methods courses and go out to the local grammar school and see, do you not need to revamp all your methodology and teaching? You can't handle the students with what you know. You're just ill-equipped. So now, you realize that your institutions are failing and you don't have solutions. So what do you do about it? You pass your time in sport and play and indulging in pleasure. Just like Rome. You're partying all the time. Where's the party? Who's got the reefer? Who's got the coke? Who's got the pills? Who's got the crack? Your life is a mockery of what life is supposed to be. You've taken your women, white and black, brown, red, and yellow, and you've reduced your woman to a plaything. This is a shame. And many of you women allow yourself to be put in that rotten position. You don't know the value of a woman. You don't know the beauty of being a woman. You don't know the sacred position that woman holds in this universe. And because you don't know your role, you don't play your role. And in every society on this earth, women have been put down. In every religion, women are put down. In Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, in Hinduism, in Buddhism, nobody shows the respect for womanhood that the prophets showed for women. No, they don't. And because the society disrespects woman, you can never have a decent society. Because it is only when you recognize the value of a woman and allow the woman to be what God created her to be and not what men find pleasure in having her to be, then you'll find your society on the way back up again. Now let's see what I'm talking about. Women, to allow yourself to be reduced to 36, 23, 36. And that's the measure of you. And that's why men don't deal with you. They deal with the house you live in. They want to become acquainted with your house. but they don't want to become acquainted with the person that lives on the inside of the house. They want to find pleasure in the roof of the house. They like to measure the foundation of the house, but they don't want to come on the inside and find out who lives there. So as a result, you meet men in these one-night stands. And you find yourself as a woman involved in a cheap relationship where men are not really interested in finding out the measure of your mind, just the shape of that which rhymes with mine. You understand? And you got a doctorate degree or a master degree or more than likely a BS degree. Yeah. And it doesn't show you respect for yourself and respect for who and what you are. That's a shame. You got to come out of college and don't know who you are, what your role is, what your purpose is. God creates nothing without a purpose. If he put in this body a liver, a spleen, a lung, a large intestine, a small intestine, the heart, the brain, the arteries, the veins, everything got a purpose. You mean to tell me he created you, a male and a female, and you don't know what your purpose is? You don't know what your aim should be in life? And you're a college graduate and don't know why the hell you're on the earth? You're a degreed man and a woman and don't know how to be a man and don't know how to be a woman? Some of you want to be what you're not? Talk to me. Something is very wrong in this society. Mr. Bush down in Cartagena saying to the people in Central America and South America, look, we have to stop the drugs at the source. But the leaders said to Mr. Bush, America has the greatest demand. Oh. So if America demands more drugs than any other nation on earth, then there's something deeply wrong in the American society, and it's not a medical problem. It's not a social problem. It's a deep-rooted spiritual problem that Bush can't handle. And cardinal this and cardinal that and rabbi this and imam that can't handle, because the religions have contributed to the mess that's going on in this society. Boy, boy, boy. You really need some help. Boy, boy, boy. Just a couple more minutes. We really need help. Can you imagine as a white student, some of you are so sick mentally. Listen. It's not your fault. I'm not putting it on you. I'm just saying the society has made you. Fed you a myth called white supremacy. Terrible sickness. Because everywhere on the earth that white folk have gone with that damnable mentality, It has allowed white people to think that not that they should respect law, but that they in fact are the law. After all, you're not dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with intelligent people. These are savages. These are heathens. And therefore, we should take their land. We should kill them if necessary to get them off the land, because after all, we are supposed to rule. Think about the founding fathers of this nation. See, think about George Washington. Think about Ben Franklin. Think about Adams. Think about them. Think about Tom Jefferson. Think about, these are brilliant men. But they were myopic in their view. When these white men set this country up, they didn't set it up with you in mind. When they said, we the people, they didn't mean we Hispanics. Come on. Come on, my Hispanic brothers and sisters. They weren't talking about you. If there's any Native Americans in here, you know they didn't say anything about you. And let me talk to my Asian brothers and sisters. Hey, if you're Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, Vietnamese, when he said we the people, he sure wasn't thinking about you. And when they said and wrote we the people, we folk who weren't considered people, we were in bondage to them. They didn't build this country for black people, for Arabs, for Chinese, for Hispanics. They didn't build it for Jews. They didn't build it for poor white folk. They built it for privileged whites. Because poor whites have to suffer for the privilege. Oh yes, you're in a hell of a bind. So no wonder you have produced a group of skinheads. No. Don't blame the skinheads. Don't blame the KKK. Don't blame them. You act as though they just sprung up. Hell no. They were produced, and they were produced by the very myopic, sick view of the founding fathers of this nation. This is a nation for white people only, for Christians only, for nobody else. So when you got people who want to go back to the view of the founding fathers, then you know what they're thinking. I don't want no niggas. Kill niggas. Kill the Hispanics. Kill the Asians. Kill the Jews. And any whites that get in our way, kill them too. That's a sickness of mind that you press people can condemn, but you don't have the courage to trace the root that produced that fruit. You don't have that courage. See, the only way to stop skinheads and KKK and racism is to go back and say that the founding fathers were myopic in their view. They were wrong, and therefore America is a pluralistic society. Then it must be a non-racial society. You got to go back and correct this thing from the root. And if you don't have that kind of courage, you are a liar and a hypocrite and the same racist that condemned the skinhead. You just a skinhead with hair on. Yeah. Come on. Y'all all right? I know it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. You know, nobody wants to deal with this.
That's right.
It's the skinheads' fault. See, the KKK. The skinheads say they're Christians.
Right. That's what they say.
I saw on the news today that they had defaced a synagogue with swastikas, which is a cross in motion. That's what that swastika represents, a cross. It's not a bad symbol. It is associated with an Aryan philosophy because of what Hitler did with that symbol.
That's it.
But you can find that symbol on the Baha'i temple in their mother church in Wilmette, Illinois. It's not a bad symbol, but what you do under a symbol prejudices people toward the symbol. Now, hell, as many crosses were burned on the lawns of black people. Look at what white folk have done with the cross, yet many of you got one around your neck. You have been able to see beyond what human beings in their sickness have done with that symbol. Bear with me a few more minutes. Look, dear students, those skinheads who said, we're Christians, how are you going to blame them unless you go back to the origin of the church and tell the truth that the church is the #1 teacher of white supremacy? Go on and tell that truth. Now, can I prove it? Sure I can. You can't put that on Jesus. Jesus was a teacher of love. This society is hypocritical to Jesus Christ. Look, what color was Jesus? Well, Jesus didn't have a color. Cut it out. If he had a body from the earth, he had color, doctor. Well, of course, he was universal. Well, how come you painted him white? Was he in fact white? Well, really, what difference does it make? It must have made a difference since you doctored his color. Why didn't you tell your people that Jesus was non-white? Why didn't you do that? You wanted to feed the idea of white supremacy. And if you let white people know that the person that they are in the church calling the Son of God was not white, then you would be destroying what you've been setting up all these years. Talk back to me. Listen. You know they didn't have any pictures or cameras in the days of Jesus. Where did they get that picture from? It's blonde one time, it's brunette the next time. You mean they had Clairol back then? You had a reason for keeping the truth of Jesus away from black people. And you had a reason for keeping it away from your own people. Many of you students, your parents are in secret fraternities called Masons and Shriners and Eastern Stars. And your parents can't tell you what they're learning. You see them put on the fez of the Muslim people of the East. And they march in the Shriners Parade. You say, oh, Daddy, you look so nice. But Daddy can't tell you what he's learning. It's a secret. Boy, I'm telling you, give me a couple more minutes. This is going to get real interesting in just a couple of seconds. Look, oh, it is? Oh. Dear students, look. You are the victims of the crime of omission and commission. And you can't, as a white student, fit in a new world reality with the old world thought of white supremacy. That has got to go. And black students, white supremacy has produced its effect in you. And you have become inferior thinking people. You think that your blackness is inferior. Your hair is inferior. Your nose, your lips. There's no real beauty in you. So the closer you are to white people, the more beautiful you are. That makes you sick. Very, very sick. And you, black students who have been taught systematically to hate yourself and to love white people. Oh, yes. Love their blonde hair and their blue eyes. Look, that's theirs. Now you can go buy blue eyes at the optometrist. I want blue eyes. And don't you look stupid? You look at a natural blonde and you want to make yourself blonde. Make yourself a redhead, because blondes have it easier. A black blonde has it doubly hard. Sick. This whole educational system has made one people to look at themselves as superior, another people to look at themselves as inferior. And that inferiority has affected Hispanic, Native American, Arab, Chinese, Indian. When you come to this country, all you got to do is have straight hair, you're black as night. But you're Indian from the subcontinent of India. And therefore, in your clipped British accent, you are better than these darkies. Poor Hispanic sister and brother. You don't even realize what has happened to you. You speak Spanish and never saw Spain. And probably your mother was not Castilian. Isn't that something? You are Ramirez, Gomez, Santiago. Where did you get that name? Here's a European imperialist coming out of Europe into the Americas, saw your people who were natives, kin to the Native Americans in Central America and South America, and our African fathers, who are the basis of what is called Mexican civilization. At the root of it is the old Mech, who goes right on back to Africa. So you got mixed blood in you now. So you got a Spanish name, speak the Spanish language, and they made you a Catholic and a fool at the same time. Look at what I'm saying to you. You are a colonized, messed up Hispanic brother and sister. You look over at your black counterpart. He was colonized by the British. So he's John Booth, Larry Tompkins, Mary Brown, Lucinda Jackson. She's not an English woman, but the only language she knows is English. Not one word of her original language from Africa does she know, and you know nothing about the Indian language that your great-grandmother spoke. You don't know nothing about it. Victimized. My brother Emilio is from Haiti. His parents are from Haiti. But they were colonized by the French. So here you go to a Haitian, his name is Francois Chancy. He speaks patois or French, and he's a Christian. So the common denominator is every slave master that destroyed us made us Christians at the same time. Now you tell me, why did they make us Christians? Did they make us Christians to get us closer to Jesus Christ? Or did they make us Christians because they knew they had fixed the religion up to make you a better tool of service for white supremacy? Come on and talk to me. I don't want you to write that I'm anti-Christian. I see your pens moving at great speed. I don't want you to say that I'm anti-Jesus Christ. I'm not anti-Jesus Christ. I'm anti the crap that has been done in the holy name of Jesus Christ. That's what I'm anti. Look at these people. Look at the Hispanics. Look at the blacks. Look at those whom you have Christianized, and look at their condition. You haven't brought them one step to Jesus. You've corrupted them. They're thieves and liars and drunkards and homosexuals and pimps and hustlers and degenerates, all in the name of Jesus Christ. Now, you can't tell me that you love Jesus Christ. You're in love with yourself. And when you see the Son, you see the Father. For the Father and the Son are one. That's interesting. It's truth, but look at how it's twisted. Then they give you a picture of the Son, and he's white. And he's white. And this is the Son of God. What does that mean in your mind? How does that affect the way you think? If the Son is white, who's the Father? Then if Jesus is white and Jesus is God and God is good, God help you if you're black. Because if Jesus is God and Jesus is white and God is good, and I'm born black into this kind of world, when I look in the mirror and see my blackness, I see myself as the opposite of Jesus Christ. And if I'm the opposite of God and the opposite of good and the opposite of white, then I am black and I am a devil. And since nobody in the Bible has taught you to love the devil, if you see yourself subtly, subliminally as a devil, then how do you treat one another? Black people are the #1 killers of ourselves, the #1 rapers, robbers, beaters, shooters, cheaters of ourselves. Why? Because of the way you've been taught all your lives to hate yourself. Yeah. Now, look, black folk don't write the books that we study. White folks write them. Black folk don't run the movie studios, that have portrayed us as clowns and buffoons. White folk do. In the 1960s, with those black exploitation films, pimps were glorified. Whores were glorified. Drug sellers were glorified. Gangsters were glorified. We didn't do that to ourselves. Hollywood took that part, the worst part of our life, and then glorified it. And had some of you running around with these platform heels. Look at you. Bags on your head. How in the hell can white people ever learn to respect you until you learn to respect yourself? And now on Oswego campus, here you come. Straight from the ghetto with a sick mind. And all a white girl got to do is smile at you. And you forget all about your black woman. And you forget all about the history of your suffering. And we see you on the campus with the daughter of your former slave master, walking arm in arm like you've all of a sudden entered paradise. Oh, don't call me a racist. I know that love transcends color. I know that love transcends race. I know that. But that ain't love. That's the lust of a slave. You listen to me good. When we were on the plantation, it wasn't so long ago. We were out there picking cotton. And the black woman was out there with us picking cotton. The black woman couldn't sit down in no mirror and give herself a Woodbury facial, rub her skin down in Nivea till it was soft and sweet. She didn't have time at night to put her hair up with rollers and whatnot. She was so tired when she got out that field, she fell in whatever they gave her as a bed. She didn't smell too good because bathing wasn't a part of a slave's activity. So here we are in the field stinking, working from morning to night. The sun baked our skin till it was cracking. Hair all twisted up in knots even before dreadlocks became reality. Covered with a bandana in the field picking cotton. But the house nigger was in the house, the female, taking care of white women, cooking so she wouldn't have red hands, dishpan hands, cleaning for her so she could oil her skin and have a black woman rub her down. She could pretty herself up and put cologne or perfume on and walk through the field till the odor of her perfume reached the nostrils of Sam picking cotton. And Sam looked up from the cotton smelling the perfume as she walked by. And Sam said, one of these days, white women have always had in the back of their mind a thought about the prowess of the black man. But let's not make a mistake and call this love. This is a cross-cultural experience. You want to experience the black man, and he wants to experience the white woman. Why don't you tell it like it is? But if I remind my people, don't do that. Leave the white woman alone. If I tell my people that, leave the white woman alone. Any white man in here that respects himself does not want to see his woman walking down the street with a black man. He grits his teeth every time he sees it. And if you white men are honest, you would say, Farrakhan, you sure told the truth. And since, if you even said it, your own people will call you a racist, let me say it for you since they already called me that. You know you white men don't want to see the black man with your woman. And I sure don't want to see you with mine. Oh, listen to that man. See, the racism is just oozing out of him now. He couldn't hide it for long. Here it comes. If there are any Jewish persons in this house, no Jewish woman could come home with a German boyfriend and her parents not remind her, sweetheart, the Holocaust is too fresh in my memory. Enough time has not passed. You wouldn't call them racist. You would just say, I understand. Here's a black people that have caught hell every day of our sojourn in America. I want to remind black people of the deceitful, wicked chicanery and how it is being perpetrated on them, not for hateful purposes, but so that we will remember and never be tricked again. But you don't want to give me credit for teaching my people like Jews teach theirs. You want to call me a racist, but you say the Jews are just making us remember the Holocaust. 6 million Jews, according to what they say, were lost in the Holocaust. As a black person, when I look at the pictures and I see ovens with bones in it of Jewish men, women, and children, that don't make me feel good. You want to deprive me of my humanity by calling me a black Hitler when I have never done one harmful thing to a Jewish person. Listen to me. And I am listened to by the government. I don't pick up the phone where they're not there. If they bug Martin Luther King's house, you know they got mine bugged. And I challenge the FBI to come out with any conversation of Louis Farrakhan in private where I have planned one evil thing against Jews, against whites, against anybody. And if you say you got it, I will have to tell you you manufactured it, because I have never done that. But for Jews to look at Farrakhan as a Hitler is to put in the mind of every young Jewish person the seed of murder for Louis Farrakhan. Now look, and I couldn't blame them, because if I were Jewish and had been through what they had been through, and somebody told me that this was a new Hitler coming up, then in my mind, I would think it was my duty to get rid of that man. And I'm telling you that that is the most dangerous thought in a young Jew's head today. Because if you think to get rid of Louis Farrakhan is getting rid of Hitler, your own leaders have lied to you. Your own leaders have deceived you. Your own leaders are using Farrakhan to try and build a movement to use Farrakhan to get you hyped up. We got to attack this Farrakhan everywhere he goes. Listen, let me tell you something. Don't make a mistake where I'm concerned. Don't do that. I am much more than you think I am. And if you make that mistake, I'm not talking about hurting me, just the thought of it will get you hell. You won't kill this one and get away with it. I warn you in the name of Allah, if you want to see your country stay your country, you better leave Farrakhan alone, because if you put your hand on me, it won't be just blacks rising. God himself will wipe this whole damn thing from the face of the earth. And don't you forget it. I'm not playing. I don't wish one Jewish person harm. Not one. I only want you to know the truth. And so in my wrap up, I want to say to the black students and to the white students, you need to know more about who you are. White folk who are wise know you better than you know yourself. And so I want to throw something out here for racist minds to think about. Did you know that white folk are not considered natives anywhere on the earth? Have you ever considered that? You're not a Native American. You're not a Native Central American. You're not a Native South American. You're not a Native African. You're not a Native Australian. You're not a Native New Zealander. You're not a Native Hawaiian. You're not a Native Alaskan. You're not a Native Tahitian. Everywhere you went on the earth, you found people already there who were natural to that part of the earth. Listen to me, listen. And everywhere you went, the dark people who were already there opened their doors and let you in. I'm speaking now generally to white people to understand you didn't do this, but I want you to understand what some of your fathers have done so that you will understand, look, man, there's reaping time and there's sowing time. And as a man soweth, the same shall he also reap. Well, if you didn't sow it, but your fathers did, then why should you reap what they have sown? You got to find a way to get out from under the judgment that's coming down on your people for the evil that they have done. Listen to me carefully. The Native Americans said, come in. and met the Puritans and the Pilgrims on the shore.
Yes, they did.
Had dinner for you.
Yes, they did.
Showed you how to plant corn and did all kinds of nice things because the darker people were not inflicted with the disease of hatred for another people because they looked different. They received your fathers. But as your fathers came and went back and reported to Queen Isabella and Ferdinand and other Spanish and Portuguese and French and Dutch and whatnot, they all started coming. For what? To plunder this. You can't take this from the Indian unless you kill the Indian. So to justify killing the Indian, they said, the Indian's a heathen. He doesn't know anything about the Lord Jesus Christ. You don't either. Not from your actions.
Right.
You're so disrespectful of the way God teaches the most primitive of the people. You could have learned much from the Indian, but you didn't want that, so you killed them. Some of your big white folk were practicing germ warfare on Native Americans, sending them blankets, making them think that they were getting blankets to keep them warm in the winter, but you were sending them smallpox in the blanket. For what reason? Genocide. You wanted this. But the scriptures that you were given in Europe said, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thy neighbor's wife, thy neighbor's ox, thy neighbor's ass, nor anything that is your neighbor's. But you wanted this from the Indian and you took it. And now he's just a fragment of what he was up on a reservation here in New York, out in the far west. And you recognize now that the Native Americans are sitting on the last energy resources in the country: coal and oil and gas and uranium. And now you want to move the Indians off of their last remaining lands. Wait a minute. Young whites, you have to think differently than your parents if you can. And you can make a difference if you will. Because these are human beings, different type than yourself, but human beings. And if you say they are subhuman and then treat them like subhuman, then as a man soweth, the same shall he also reap. Jesus said, you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. You sow the wind, you'll reap the whirlwind. This is not what you want, but this is what's on the way. Look at the Mexican people. California once belonged to Mexico. Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. What happened? How did you get it? You took it from them. Faking some kind of war, some pretext to go to war with Mexico. Just like you did with Noriega. I'm saying to you, Bush is a criminal. Farrakhan said it. He's a criminal. Still the same old CIA head. He cultivated Noriega. If Noriega was running drugs, he knew it as head of the CIA. He had a relationship with Noriega. If Noriega got $10 million in the bank, Bush knows it because Bush paid him. And when Noriega refused to allow Panama to be a staging area for war against Nicaragua, now you're going to expose the man that you made. So you make him a drug man while you whip it up. He's an indicted drug man. What the hell does indicted mean? You say that a man is innocent until he's proved guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Have you proved him guilty? No, he's made guilty by this press. And so since you made him guilty, you pull out your stealth bomber and you send your troops down into Panama. And you don't kill 232 people like you lyingly told the American public. And the press, you were part of this conspiracy. Look, you all collaborate with your government when they get ready to do wrong. And if you don't stop it, you're going to pay a price for that. Noriega never declared no war on America. How could a man in Panama who is sane with the little bit of army that he got declare war on America? You should be ashamed of yourself for your lying deceit of the American people. He said a state of war exists between Panama and the United States. A condition, he said. And you turned it around. You said it right at first, then you turned it around, and then you bombed the man. You bombed his home. And you didn't only bomb his home, you bombed the district where his PDC headquarters was. It's called the Chorillo district in Panama, populated mostly by blacks and mestizos. And Bush dropped over 418 bombs. Over 400. Look, the bombs were so heavy, they were measured by those who measure for earthquakes, and they heard them hit 418 times. And you killed thousands of men, women, and children. This is why you want an army full of black people. This is why you want an army full of Hispanic and Native American and poor whites. So you can send them all over the world, not to make America safe or the world safe for democracy, but to keep the rich sucking the blood of the poor peoples of the earth. They bombed Cologne, killing black men, women, and children. But black lives don't mean a damn thing to the president. That's why you can exalt 6 million of your own and never talk about 100 million of our own that died in the Middle Passage coming from Africa to America. Black life don't mean a damn thing because we are black and our life is not as valuable as a white life. This is the sick mind of America. This is the sick mind that this educational, religious, political, social, and judicial system has produced. You make your people sick, and you use them. You bomb Gaddafi's home. He's a head of state. You don't like Gaddafi. So Reagan lies to the American people. A slaughter in the Rome and Vienna airport. Gaddafi's guilty. And the press, you pick it up. What your president said, you're a lying president. You do this. You use the ignorance of the American people. You manipulate them. So you build a case against Gaddafi, not in a court, but in the press. Until the American people say, this man is a monster, then the president calls Gaddafi the mad dog of the Middle East. And then you kill him, or attempt to kill him, and 87% of the American people say you did the right thing until truth comes. Then they find out Gaddafi was not responsible for the Rome and the Vienna airport massacre, nor was he responsible for the bombing of the German discotheque in which a black soldier was killed. Now, when would Reagan bomb a country over a black soldier dying in a German discotheque? Criminals in leadership. They let you in Auckland, New Zealand, and you killed off the Maori people. They let you in Australia. You kill off the Aborigines. They let you in South Africa. And you kill those people. Now 87% of the land of South Africa is in the hand of a small minority of white people. Mandela free from jail? What does that mean? Mandela free but can't vote? Free but should be the ruler? Free but has no power? Then this Bush, with his hypocritical self, invites Mandela to the White House. He leaves one White House going to another White House. Leaves one white man going to another white man who has been upholding that apartheid regime until pressure was put on him from students in America, white and black, to give sanctions on South Africa. You all better wake up. The Palestinians let you in there. See, this is where you call me anti-Semitic, because I disagree with Zionism. I disagree with it. You know that there are Jews living in Palestine, Jews, Arabs, and Christians, who have lived side by side for thousands of years, and they are all Semitic people.
Listen.
But the Ashkenazi were converts to Judaism who came down out of Europe, who don't have any connection to that land. But during the transfer agreement that was made with Hitler, Jews were let out of Europe, out of Germany, because Hitler's program against the Jews was so horrendous. Many of them wanted to get out, and the Palestinians opened up the door, and the more and more and more came in, just like the Puritans and the Pilgrims came in, just like the British came in New Zealand, just like they came in Australia, just like the Boers came in South Africa. You came in. And after enough of you were in, you decided some of this should be yours. And so the United Nations, the Balfour Agreement, mandated a part of Palestine to be the new state of Israel. And naturally the Arabs are going to react. They're going to say, wait a minute, you don't take half of my home for your home. I let you in, and now you're going to take my home and call it your home? And then you justify it by saying it's biblical. And you get hot with Farrakhan because I say Theodore Herzl was not the Messiah.
That's right.
You are to go back to the promised land under the guidance of the Messiah. Your people did not believe that Jesus was the Messiah. So now, if you don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah or was the Messiah, you're still looking for the Messiah. And there are preconditions that you have to meet to be qualified to go back to the Holy Land. That's what I'm saying. And there are hundreds of thousands of Jews who are Orthodox Jews who agree with that viewpoint. They're not anti-Semitic because they take that view. How can you accuse me of being anti-Semitic when I have a good relationship with the Arab peoples of the world who are Semitic people? Are you saying that you are the only Semites, or you don't count others as Semites? Go look at Israel. I'm talking to Jews now. You look at Israel. Go there. I visited there. I know what I'm talking about. The Sephardim, who are the Semitic Jews, they're not ruling in Israel. The Falasha Jews, who are the black Jews, they're not first-class citizens there. They got the same problems in Israel that we got in America. Now look, let's cut the stuff. You know doggone well I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't hate Jews. Don't put me in that cheap bag. I respect Jews. I respect their brilliance, but I criticize them when they're wrong, when I perceive them as wrong. But of course, if I criticize, then I'm a bad fellow. I can't criticize. I criticize black people, but they don't call me anti-black. I criticize Arabs who set up stores in the black community selling my people whiskey and pork when they know better. But they don't call me anti-Semitic or anti-Arab. But only you. Why are you so sensitive? What do you know that I know that you don't want me to tell them? You know, you ought to just leave me alone, you know? Making people think that I praised Hitler. I only said Hitler was a great man. But I qualified it. I said he was wickedly great. You taught me English. It's not my language. But here's what you taught me. Hitler, noun, proper noun. Was, verb to be. Past tense. A, the article. Man, predicate, nominative. Great, predicate, adjective, describing man. Wickedly, adverb, describing the adjective, describing the pronoun or the noun. Hitler was a wickedly great man. Great don't mean good. They had a great earthquake down in Mexico. It wasn't good. They had a Great Depression in 1929 when the stock market fell. That Great Depression wasn't good. Babylon is called Babylon the Great, but it never was called Babylon the Good. Oh, you should be ashamed. Really. I hate to even waste the students' time going over this. But I'm going over this to defend myself against false charges. I never called Judaism a gutter religion.
That's right.
But every time you write, Farrakhan, the man who called Hitler great, and Judaism a gutter religion. Don't you know, to the Jews who are present, you know, when that came out in the press, a Jewish doctor called my office. I was not in the city at the time. My assistant answered the phone. And this Jewish doctor asked my assistant, did Farrakhan say that? And my assistant said, no, he never said that. He said, you know, one of my patients, when they read that in the paper, had a cardiac arrest and died. Look at the pain that that statement has caused so many Jews. But I didn't make the statement. The press made the statement. Let me tell you what I said. And let me compare that with what they said I said. And then let me show you what their motivation was in the context of that time. It's Friday night. You ain't got to go nowhere. And you paid me a heck of an honorarium, so you might as well get your money's worth. Look. I was talking about Israel. And believe me, to the Jews who are present, I don't want to see Jews and Palestinians kill each other. I don't want to see that. But unless justice is done, it's going to happen. Justice is not on your terms or mine. Justice is on the terms of the truth. And as long as the truth is hidden and people tell lies to foster their view, then justice stands afar off. I said that nation called Israel has not had any peace in 40 years. And she will never have any peace, because there can be no peace structured on injustice, lying, thievery, and murder, using God's name as a shield for your dirty religion. Now, the next day, I had press conference. They never asked me, were you referring to Judaism? The next day, Farrakhan's latest outrage. Judaism, a gutter religion. Headlines. Religion, dear Jews, Christians, and Muslims, is not what you profess. Religion is what you practice. We all profess a pure religion, but our actions are dirty. See? Christians claim Jesus Christ, but you brought my fathers into slavery in Jesus' name. You stole the country from the Indians in Jesus' name. You murdered and castrated us in Jesus' name. You took away my name, language, culture, religion, God, and robbed me of myself and my history in Jesus' name. You practiced a dirty religion, even though Jesus' religion was clean and pure. And I'm saying that to steal the land from the Palestinians, to murder them, to be unjust to them, and then to put God's name in the Bible as a chosen people, as a cover for that kind of action. It's using God as a shield for dirty religion that you are practicing in the noble name of Moses, Abraham, and God. And that's what I'm saying. Muslims have practiced dirty religion because Prophet Muhammad was clean. The Quran is clean. But our actions as Muslims don't measure up to the righteousness of what we believe and speak. All are guilty of dirtying up the pure words of God and his religion. That's what Farrakhan said. When you show the movie of Farrakhan in a fiery, flaming speech, give the context. Right. Jesse Jackson was trying to be elected. And the media was whipping up a thing in the country. And Jews were taking ads out in the paper, ruin Jesse, ruin.
Yes, they did.
And they were saying Jews against Jesse.
That's right.
This is all right. But look, Jesse was our champion.
That's right.
90% of black people were going with Jesse. Jesse was hope for black people. So as an intelligent Jew, even if you disagree with Jesse, you ought to be skillful and wise in how you handle him, lest you alienate and disaffect all the millions of people that were lining up behind Jesse. So I said to the Jews, listen to what I said. And this is all documented, and I want you to know, Farrakhan is not going to lie. What I said, I stand on what I said. I'm no punk. What I say, I mean, and what I mean, I say. You don't have to worry about Farrakhan. What you see and what you hear is what I am, not what they say I am. This is what I am. Deal with me. Don't try to shrink me and put me under your cheap label so that you think you can handle me. No. Listen. Look at the context. I said to Jews, I said, listen, blacks and Jews have always worked together when our interests converge, as God is my witness. I said, but when our interests do not converge and are diametrically opposed, Jews have always followed their self-interest. The Baki decision is an instance. Jews do not like quotas, and when you talk about quotas, Jews don't like that. So with Baki and getting blacks into medical school under certain quotas, Jews took the position of Baki and the NAACP, and the Jews who always worked together, they were at loggerheads of each other. Why? Because the Jews felt that the Baki decision and quotas was not in their best interest. You followed your self-interest. Intelligent, we applaud you. We disagree, but you followed your intelligence, your self-interest. Now, Reverend Jackson, we felt, was our self-interest. You don't like Jesse, that's your problem. But Jesse was our man at that time. We were lining up behind Jesse. We don't mind you criticizing him. We don't mind you disliking him. But here's what we mind. We mind you using your power in the media to create an atmosphere into which our brother could be killed. And that's the context out of which I spoke. And I said before 8,000 people, I said, we're tired of feeding black leaders to the white public like raw meat to wild beasts. And I said, if you harm Jesse, he'll be the last one that you harm. And the next day, Nathan Perlmutter was on television or radio in New York calling me the new black Hitler. And I took umbrage at that remark. I said, well, here come the Jews calling me Hitler. I'm no damn Hitler. I have not had a fight since I was a child. I don't beat people, and I don't teach these to beat people. We'll fight you if you aggress us, but we're not aggressive. We don't carry as much as a penknife. I will never teach one of these to put a swastika on a Jewish synagogue, and we'll stop people from doing that because our religion teaches us to respect every house where God's name is remembered. Did you hear me? But I'm not a punk. You don't scare me. You can't back me down if I believe I got the truth. I'm not your nigger, your Negro. I'm a man. My mother didn't grow me up to lay down at your foot. I'm a man. I speak the truth as I know it, and I'll die on it, but you can't make me apologize and scratch where I don't itch and bend and bow and scrape like you do these other Negroes. I'm not that. Get used to meeting a black man who is a man. Now, in my conclusion, why is that so threatening? Because you control most black leaders. You got black professors here. You control them. They're yours. Many of them would like to say things that you don't allow them to say, and they can't say. They want to hold on to their job. I can understand that. That's why you'll never be free in somebody else's own. You're going to have to build your own. You understand? I'm not under their control. And more than Martin Luther King, and more than Malcolm X, and more than any other black leader, present and even past, Brother Farrakhan is being listened to by more and more black people, and Hispanic people, and Native American people, and white people, and those who have enjoyed control over all feel if Farrakhan is listened to, particularly by blacks, and they rally behind him, he may raise an army and remember our evil done to them and come against us. This is the fear sitting way back in the mind. So while Bush is smiling, he's planning my death. The FBI, the IRS, the anti-terrorist division, the racketeering squad, they're all working to bring Farrakhan behind bars. Farrakhan don't smoke. Farrakhan don't drink. Farrakhan doesn't use drugs. Farrakhan hardly used an aspirin. Farrakhan eats one meal a day. Farrakhan don't chase women. Farrakhan don't chase men. Farrakhan tells the truth. Are you listening? I haven't done anything illegal, but they got to find something, trump it up if necessary. Get Farrakhan. Get Farrakhan. And then many of the young Jewish students are out saying, who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. Who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. Very sad. What have I done? Tell the truth. What have I done? I inspire black people to rise up and to make something better of themselves than you have made of them. What have I done? I've given my life to clean my people up from drugs and alcohol and bad habits laziness, dependence, and made them stand up and do for themselves. All of these that are with me, look in their faces. They're clean men, clean women. They don't smoke, drink, or do nothing evil that I know of. I'm not saying they're saints. We're trying to be. And we don't get any credit for our good. We clean up a neighborhood in Washington of drugs and crime. And they talk all around us. But the hypocrite William Bennett won't mention Brother Dr. Aleem and Brother William and the brothers in Washington called the Dope Busters, who cleaned up an area of nearly 10,000 people of drugs, and they're nearly all together free of crime. This is our work. We are working with gangs of black people that are killing each other. We are stopping them from killing each other and bringing them together in solidarity and unity. This is our work. We don't have time to sit around hating white people. We don't have time going around teaching black people to hate you. You stop teaching us to hate you by the way you act toward us. And you, black people, stop teaching white people to continue their mentality against you by your crazy, silly acting selves. Cut it out and let's show the world that we are worthy of respect. And so, in my conclusion, since white folks aren't native anywhere, then you have to ask yourself, as a serious scholar, where did you come from?
Yes, sir.
No, we're not going for the ape theory. We're not going for that. You can leave that alone. Mendel, one of your great geneticists, biologists, Mendel said, light eyes are what? Dark eyes are? Light skin is? Dark skin is? I didn't say it, Mendel said it. Mendel said you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you can't get the dominant from the recessive. This is Mendel. This is Mendel. Listen. You remember the great anthropologist, Dr. Leakey? Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of who? Man. He may have stopped in Europe. He didn't stay long. Where did Dr. Leakey finally say man originated? Come on! Man originated where? Say it again. One more time. Don't you want to go there? Oh, yeah, yeah. Look. If man originated in Africa, did civilization originate in Africa? The origin of Western civilization is Greece. But the origin of Greek civilization is Africa. Yeah. See, now they make you think Egyptian civilization is Caucasian civilization. Lies. Egypt just became light-skinned over the last 2,000 years with race mixing. But the pharaohs, the great builders of the pyramid, don't you say you built them. Because if you built them, you could tell us how they were built. Then they wouldn't be the first wonder of the world. You wonder how they were built. That's why we know you didn't build them. Yeah, but sitting beside the pyramid is this statue of a black man with the body of a lion, in Arabic called Abu al-Hawl, father of everything. He had a nose that was broad, lips that were thick, and Napoleon got so upset when he saw that black image standing beside the pyramids, and he trained this cannon on the nose and blew the nose off. And if you go in most of those ancient statues, the noses are gone, because the nose represents what they call anthropologically Negroid features. White students, the truth is, our fathers gave mathematics, medicine, philosophy, art, architecture, law, civilization, religion to the world. You got it all from us. In fact, you yourself came not from the way, you came from us. We are your father. We are your mother. And the Bible says, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land which we gave you. That's not racism. That's the truth. Now, black students, you are the original people of the earth. You don't need to run and hide because you're black. You don't need to feel ashamed because your hair is kinky. You don't need to run and hide because your lips are thick. You don't need to run and hide because your nose is broad. You're not black because you're cursed. You're black because you are the original creation, the first that God created, and from us came the totality of the human family of the earth. Your geneticists today, who studied the DNA, have said, and I quote, that in studying the DNA of all the people of the earth, they say it goes back to a point of origin in the black woman, that she is the mother of all living. You got your nature from us. You got your body from us. You got your mind from us. You didn't create yourself. You're not responsible for the way you've been thinking. But today, God has raised us again with a solution to the problems of race, to destroy racism from the earth. We are all here now, black, brown, red, yellow, and white. But in order for us to remain here, we got to have a reorientation of our minds. We've got to destroy white supremacy and black inferiority. And you can't take this knowledge, black students, that you are the first and run around with your chest stuck out. I'm first. I'm first. I'm first. What it means is you got great potential that you don't know and you're not living up to. And that's why Jesus said Paul said God is no respecter of persons. He don't care nothing about you being first or whites being last, because the last have become first and the first have become last. But the book says, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. The black man is coming again. The black woman is coming again. This does not mean, as the young white student wrote in the Oswego, or whatever it is. The young white student wrote that place Umoja that has black power. It's very discomforting to us. We don't like it when you talk about power. Wait. I understand your fears. You said it. You said, does that black power mean that you want to rule and control white people because we have used power to rule and control you? No. Power in us don't mean we want to rule you. Power is that which enables a weak people to overcome the obstacles in the pathway of their progress. Unless you see yourselves as obstacles and you're afraid that power to us will remove you as an obstacle. Now, if God ordains, listen to me carefully, that we come back to a prime position, it's not because of our blackness, but it's because God has tested us in the furnace of affliction. And God knows that we could never do to you what you delighted in doing to us. God knows that if power comes to us, we're going to do our best to be righteous. We got to reorder the planet. We got to straighten it out. It's in a mess. You've had the power. You poison the air, now we can't breathe. You poison the water, now we can't drink. You poison the earth. You've done a hell of a job. You've been brilliant, but morally you have been terrible. And so God is going to replace the rule of white people with the rule of just people. Not the rule of white people with the rule of black people. The rule of white people because they're white with the rule of just people, no matter what their color may be. So the Prophet Muhammad said, the best of you is not the blackest. The best of you is not the whitest. The best of you is that person that is most careful of their duty to God. That can be anybody in this room if you make that your objective. So as I leave you, students, if you want from this point to have a dialogue, blacks and Jews and blacks and whites, and blacks and Hispanics and blacks, sit down at the table and talk. But be honest. Be honest with each other. If you feel something, have the courage to say what you feel. And even if you're wrong, it is only when we speak what we really feel that others can help us correct the way we feel. Honesty will make better relations with us all. Now, black students, thank you so much for allowing me the privilege, and white students for allowing me the privilege of being here, and Arab students and international students. I applaud your effort to make Oswego multicultural. I applaud your efforts because that's the kind of world you're going out to meet, so you should learn to respect the cultures of other people. I think to make more international impact on this campus, just a minute, please, don't rush for the door. To bring people from all over the world to Oswego is a great idea, because you will be making friends with the future rulers of every part of this world, as you will soon have the reins of whatever America is to be in your hands. And you, white students, black students, Hispanic students, Native American students, don't go and say the skinheads are wrong. Say that the founding fathers built the country on the wrong principle. They said right words, but they didn't include all humanity. And since all humanity is now living in America, either we are what the skinheads preach, that there is no place in America for nobody but white people. Hey, then you got it. Help yourself. You fight for it. You pay taxes. You work for it. But let blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Asians, and Arabs know you don't want us. But soon we'll be the majority. How you going to deal with that now? Will it be like South Africa? You don't want one man, one vote. You're going to have to deal with these realities. If you want a multi-racial, multi-ethnic, pluralistic society, then you've got to go back and correct the wrong in the philosophy that governs America and wipe the slate of the minds of the people and give them a philosophy and an ideology that will make human beings respect each other. And at some future point, we will outgrow race, and we will outgrow our ethnic backgrounds, and we will love each other as human beings, and then marriage won't look strange with this one or that one as it is today. So brothers, don't take that as license. Come home to your black woman and make her happy. And let us show our black woman that we are worthy of her love by being the strong, disciplined, intelligent, honorable, courageous, persevering black men that we should have been all along. And now, sisters, we want you to respect yourself. Don't go around with your clothes cut so low that babies start crying when they see you, thinking that it's feeding time. Don't walk around men with pants on so tight that what nature put in a place that it could easily be hidden is exposed to public view. This is supposed to be an institution of learning. A man cannot learn with a woman's crotch in his face. A woman cannot learn if she can measure the man in his jeans. You're either going to have to be decent or indecent. You don't need drugs to be high. I'm high. I came here tonight high. Yes, I was high. Can't you tell I'm high? I don't smoke no dope. I'm high, exhilarated off of the joy of knowing and seeking more and more knowledge. And when you begin to realize how valuable this is, you'll stop poisoning your house of God, and you'll clean it up and make yourself worthy to be the leaders of the world tomorrow. The ball is in your court. What are you going to do with it? Thank you for listening as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Could you hold your seat, please? For everyone who wants a copy of tonight's lecture, we have available.
Could you hold your seats? They want to present me with a plaque. But I wanted to say before you go that the tape of tonight's lecture, boy, I didn't know it was this long. The tape of tonight's lecture is being high-speed duplicated. And you can get it on your way out. And for people who don't know Farrakhan, honest to God, get the tape, sit down, whites, take the tape with white people in the room, sit down, play it, argue about it, discuss it, white and black, blacks and Jews, talk about it without bitterness, and I believe you'll see that the truth can make us all free. If they wish.
Before you leave, the minister will take a couple questions and answers, so please be seated. Okay, Minister Farrakhan, we have a new group here called the Black Men Think Tank, and it was founded this semester by myself and a buddy of mine called Ronald Miller, and he's not here today because his father passed away, but he's here in memory. Would the men of the Black Think Tank please stand up? Okay, this plaque is from the men of the Black Think Tank, and what it has here is the picture of the minister that's on the posters that you've seen advertised for this event. And it says, presented to Minister Louis Farrakhan with our sincere appreciation for your untiring and devoted efforts on behalf of all of our people, and especially our future and the black youth of our community. The Black Men's Think Tank, February 25th, 1990.
Thank you very much. Thank you, students. Now, if there are a few questions, I'll be glad to take at least 3. If you'd come right to the front so I can hear you and I'll repeat your question. Oh, there's a mic right there. Okay. Yes, sir.
My question simply is, what is your perspective on AIDS? Because I believe that it's another genocide, and that's what my perception has been. And I would like you to tell me what's your perception on AIDS.
Brother asks, what is your perception on AIDS? I believe that AIDS is a part of a plan of genocide. What is your perception? My perception is the same as yours.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
My question is simply that, there's a lot of racism in this country and in this institution, and a lot of people don't want to admit it. we don't have many people to turn to really stand up and admit what's really going on. But I think that we definitely need more people like yourself to stand up and admit what's really going on.
Thank you.
I would just like to ask, being that there are also a few people who don't want to admit the truth, what can we expect in the future from Minister Louis Farrakhan?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
What can we expect in the future from Minister Louis Farrakhan?
His question, what can we expect in the future from Minister Louis Farrakhan? As long as I live, to the best of my knowledge, I will work for the liberation of oppressed people wherever they are found on the earth. I know that the greatest gift to any human being is knowledge. Human beings, once they know, they will act in accord with knowledge. So the greatest gift of all is to give knowledge. And we as a group will be working to build institutions to serve the needs of our people. That's what you can expect of us in the future by the grace of God. Thank you very much for your question, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you for coming tonight to speak. And I want to go a little more into your philosophy on interracial relationships. I have a black girlfriend, and you were speaking about black men, black women. Do you strictly want to keep race with race, or do you support an interracial type of relationship?
His question, do you strictly want to keep race with race, or do you support interracial marriages? I think, sir, with all due respect to that relationship, that black men need to be with their own women, and our women really need to be with their own men, because we have been a house divided against ourselves. Now, if we take care of our first business first, which is becoming a family among ourselves, then as we grow, we'll grow beyond ourselves to love others. Maybe your relationship is that. I don't know. But in this troubled world in which we live, it might only be a temporary college relationship, and that will not be good either for the girl or for you, because the real world out there, as the country is getting more and more conservative, more and more manifestly racist, on our side, we want to see our own woman with us, and on your people's side, they want to see you with your own. So that's a decision that you and the young lady will have to make.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, brother, I'd like to ask you, in reference to Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how has his views and what he has taught you, how has it changed your life, and how is it going to manifest itself in the future?
How has the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that has caused you to change your life manifest itself in the future? You mean to those who are non-Muslims?
To you personally.
Then I don't quite understand the question, sister.
What I'm asking you is, the teachings that he has taught you, are you going to make more of it, manifesting itself into a betterment? How is it going to transform you in the future? Or has it already gone as far as you can go?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean, has it outlived its usefulness, and will or can it continue as a transforming power?
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. Whenever a man has a message that is related to God and from God, that message is only limited to the understanding and perception of those who view that message. But as my understanding deepens in that message, my perception broadens, And as a result, the transformation is unending. I am not now what I was, nor am I what I shall be. I am continuing to grow by the grace of God. And that teaching of Elijah Muhammad, I am sharing it now with thousands of pastors in this country, not asking them to change their faith, but to grow in their faith, that we grow together as one, as the scripture says, be ye of one mind. So if truth is in the church, in the mosque, in the synagogue, in the school, everywhere, then we are all being transformed by the power of the truth. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What I'd like to know is, does the Nation of Islam put limits on the role that women play within the organization? And can a woman become a scholar for sure?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. In the past, sister, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad limited the role of women in order to pull the man up and push him out, because black men have been very hesitant to take leadership roles, because the society has beat fear into the black man. So our women, by and large, have been more vocal, more aggressive, and stronger in many respects than the black man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to give the black woman a strong black man to look at, who wouldn't feel threatened when he saw a strong black woman. And so today we have ministers in the Nation of Islam. We have right beside me a woman who is the wife of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Her name is Tainetta Muhammad, one of the most brilliant women or men that I have ever met, and I counsel with her. She is my counterpart. Yes, so women can go as high as their wisdom will take them. And lastly, on that point, I will say that any man who feels threatened by a woman needs to examine himself. Any society that limits the growth of women is a society that limits its own growth. Women, go as high as God and the wisdom of God and the gifts of God within you will allow you to go. And that is, you can lead the nation, you can teach the nation, you can guide the nation, you can run business, you can fly planes, run ships, you can do anything that your gifts will allow you to do, but you must remember that it is the woman who makes the future of the nation. So you must never abandon the young. After you get married and have children, you must not abandon your responsibility in nurturing young life to its full maturity. What has to be taught is what I hit tonight in a seminal kind of way: the origin of Caucasian people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that their birth took place in an island in the Aegean Sea that is called Patmos or Pilon. And if you go to the island of Patmos, which some of our scholars have gone to, they recognize that something great took place on that island. And of course, Caucasian people have come from a humble origin, and with the wisdom of God and the prophets, they have risen to become the masters of the sea, the air, and the land. But they have used their mastery in unrighteousness. And so that quality of unrighteousness causes them today to suffer the judgment of God. And so, my brother, I can't go deep into the process by which all of this came about, but the hint is there in Mendel's law that you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. Continue your studies, brother, and may Allah bless you.
That's big, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Next question, last question.
It's Mr. Farrakhan. I just wanted to ask you, are you familiar with the Imam of the Oswego community, Bushwick, Brooklyn?
What's his name, sir?
I don't know the full name of his name. I believe his name is Asaid al-Hadi.
Oh, Imam Esau.
And I wanted you to express your viewpoints and feelings upon this man. Do you bear witness to this man?
Oh, no, sir. No, I don't bear witness to him. If I did, I would be one of his followers. I respect him, you see, and I admire some of the things that he has done. But I can't say that I bear witness that he is who he says he is. I couldn't do that and be truthful.
So you think that he speaks a lot of untruths in his teachings?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. He couldn't have the powerful effect on the people that he has if he didn't have a lot of truth with him. Imam Esau is a brilliant brother of ours. But to say that he's the Messiah, to say that he's Mahdi, I can't bear witness to that because I don't believe that that is the truth. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother.
Yes, I was wondering, what did you say Nelson Mandela about him being released? And if you were him, what would you tell his people over in Africa what they should do?
Oh, his question, this is the last question. What did you say about Mandela?
I was wondering, how do you feel about South African people letting him being released? And if you were him, what exactly would you tell the people?
I think Nelson Mandela is quite qualified to be the leader and teacher of his own people. And for me to stand up here and say what I would tell Nelson Mandela when I don't know his reality as he knows it. He knows it best, so let us applaud his coming out of prison and encourage his leadership of his people to total liberation. Thank you, and may Allah bless you as I greet you all. Go in peace. Salam alaikum.